Beekaki.
Next comic, give it loud for everybody for Anthony Eugenio. We're gonna have the next comic. Very funny. Wayne Russell, everybody.
Welcome to the Open Mic Pain with Anthony and Wayne podcast.
What is going on, everybody? And welcome back to another episode of Open Mic Pain. This is an episode that I am extremely excited about. This is an episode where we are going to write a joke together. And eventually, Anthony will perform this on stage. We will listen back to it in a future episode and make changes. And hopefully, those of you listening will be able to comment or email us or something and add some input. And we will incorporate it into the joke if it's funny, or we think it's funny. And then he will do it again, and we will continue this process until we have a fully formed joke. So obviously, with that, I have with me my co-host, Anthony Eugenio. How are you today?
Doing good. Yeah, excited for this one. So to bring people up to speed, if you haven't listened to the earlier show, we talked about this. We want to take the very first kind of joke that I told Wayne over 10 years ago. I don't know, maybe close to 15 years ago now, I would say at this point, right?
Yeah, it was like 13.
13 years
14.
ago.
14, I think.
Wow, look at that shit. Where me and Wayne were working at a retail store together, and I was taking botany classes, and I thought it was hilarious how bees move pollen across. They kind of get cum on the face. That's kind of how that happens. So I thought that was pretty funny at the time. So we had an idea of, we should try to take that joke and manifest it on this podcast, and then I'll perform it live. So I've actually become, and I was talking about this off air with Wayne, almost enamored with it a little bit. We first talked about it almost like 2 months ago now of doing it, and I had no interest because that's not how I write. I don't go, here's a premise, I'm going to write a bunch of stuff underneath it. It really just has to hit me. So I was driving last week, and a angle on it hit me, and I sent it to Wayne, and I think that it's going to be the one that we go towards. So the idea to the bit is we're just going to describe, we want to get to, I'm going to call it Exhibit B, but it's evidence that bees get cummed on their face. So how do we get into that? So my thought is that I want to just say I completely understand women who don't like men to drop loads on their faces. Like, I get it. Like, I see where you're coming from. It's degrading. But that's the argument. Like, I don't want to hear it's unnatural, because that's not a good argument. They say, like, oh, have you ever seen an animal coming on another animal's face? You're just looking in the wrong place. Bees take loads from flowers like it's their job. Like, they take a pollen pie to the face, and then they dive into a literal bush. And then they cum honey, and they call it royal jelly. And my point is, if that's degrading, you can give me the B, right in the A.
So the point of this episode is we're going to write this joke together. This first one is going to be just us. The next episode, Anthony is going to perform it, and hopefully you guys will listen to this and write in and give us some feedback, like, hey, maybe this would be a funny tag, or maybe you should add this or that. But my first thought on this, with bees being cummed on in the face, is a play on the word Beekaki. And what if we use a little play there and call it Beekaki?
Yes.
Can we throw that in there somewhere?
Yeah, let me think. So, so bees take flower loads to the face regularly. They can take a pollen pie Beekaki and then literally kamikaze dive into a bush. There you go.
Yes.
She's perfectly
It's really
settled.
good.
So I think something to work on too on this that I've also been thinking of is how do we, because I want to say I completely understand women who don't want to take loads to the face, But that's a tough first sentence to say in any comedy act. I've learned over the last couple months that you don't want to just get to that. Kind of want to soften them up a little bit. So my
100%.
idea as well is to use, I want to call the dichotomy of responsibility. So the idea is, I think about the roles and responsibilities that men and women have, expected roles. Like, men are expected to open pickle jars and hold the door open for you. And women are expected to, cook and do laundry and take loads to their face. So that's, I think if I separate it like that, it'll be more shocking.
I agree with that. Yeah, 100%. It definitely would catch people off guard.
Maybe I can say too. So I don't know if I want to say it like that, or I can say like women cook and they do dishes and they take loads to their face. Like I want it to be like, how did they get stuck with that fucking job? Out of when we're
Now,
splitting them.
What if we bring some sort of interaction with loads of laundry with loads of cum? Is there any connection there that would make it funny?
I do say loads like 8 times in the bit, so I don't want to wear it out. But it's loady, the joke. It's very loady. I did tell you earlier, and you didn't respond to me, so I don't think you liked it, but I'm still going to say it again. I have this idea that I want to do this joke on that I'm calling the Book of Vile. So I
didn't respond to that?
No.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, you like the idea?
So I was at work. I thought I responded, but yeah, I loved that whole thing. But tell everyone what you're talking about.
So just the idea is I want to put a theme to a set. I've wanted to do that for a little. I did one called The Theme of Love once, and I did jokes about my wife and things like that into it. And I thought I did that one time, and it went really well, and I haven't thought about doing it again. But I want to do one called The Book of Vile. I have a joke book, and there's a section in it that says Vile, and it was just like jokes like this, like ones I didn't think I would do because they're just a little bit out there. And then I went to Manchester and Lowell, and I realized that I could do these fucking jokes at church.
You say it's a little bit out there, but that's like what you're talking about is like my whole entire 14 weeks of doing this shit.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit into your style. That's true. It's me doing a Wayne impression.
Yeah, sure is. But I love that idea of creating this idea that you have this secret book that is just your deepest, darkest, most obscure and unprofessional thoughts
And
that you want to share with the
itself,
audience.
and I feel like the book itself can give us some taglines throughout the set. So, for instance, I'm going to say like, Chapter 1, Exhibit B, and then I'll go into the B joke. And then depending how the B joke goes, I can either say like Chapter 2, this was a mistake, and keep going, or I can name Chapter 2 with the Dr. Harold Ivy. That's and I think that by naming these jokes as I go, it creates a artificial callback, which is really cool in and of itself. A cheap callback, if you will. It's not like I'm cleverly doing it. I'm just saying the name, but when you get to the end of Dr. Harold Ivy, and if that clicks the name of the joke, I think it's going to be a really good laugh for someone to go, oh my, I see where he went with that. And that's my favorite comedy. My favorite comedy is the one that it's almost off rhythm. You don't laugh exactly at the punchline because you think about it for a microsecond. But when you get it, it's even better. So we'll see if the Book of Vile ends up manifesting it. I need to compile my vileness and see if I can get them to flow into each other good. But I will tell you, Exhibit B will be in there.
Yeah, definitely. So I remember when we first started working together. I was going to say dating, which is weird. I was going to say when we first started working together.
It's on brand for what people think we are. We won't say the name of the cocksucker booker that we talked to, but he's such a cocksucker. but we talk to some bookers sometimes, and some of them, like every other one we've ever talked to, has been awesome. But one of them was a huge cunt. And anyways, he definitely was like, "Oh, you gays would like to go up on the same night? Okay, I mean, I guess if you gays would really like to do that and touch each other while you go before you go up." And I'm like, "Hey, man." Like, you're booking an open mic. Why are you so fucking cunty? Oh, sorry.
Fuck.
He got to me.
He did.
You remember?
He did. Well, shit. So, I'm going to pivot. When we first started working together and you brought this joke to my attention, I had ideas. And we talked about these ideas. And I'm not going to bring them all up because they weren't all good. But one of the ideas that I had about this this joke about bees having to be come down on their face and all that, and reproducing for flowers, is how would that be incorporated into the human world? So a fun, or what I think might be a fun turn into this joke would be, what if humans had to reproduce this way? Like, we didn't just have sex, but we had to convince somebody to get close enough to us where we could just come on their face. And then they would have to go rub it into another human's genitals. Is there any way we can incorporate that into the joke?
The only thing I can think of is to say, like, we'd sell a lot more Teslas if that was how you had to reproduce, that's for sure. A lot more Teslas on the road if you had to convince a woman to get their face come down.
So I guess what I was getting at there was, like, what would you have to do to get somebody close enough? So the thing that came to my mind was, those old cartoons where you'd have a Saint Bernard with a barrel of whiskey around their neck?
Yeah.
Like, you would have to have one of those where, like, they walk up to some lady and go, take this whiskey, get drunk, so this guy can come up and just, do his thing. And then you can go off and just clean your face onto another woman.
Well, so here's the thing. Jesus Christ. Perfect example of what I'm about to say. We are two different comics, folks. This is,
sure,
and I will explain to you the difference between our comedy. Wayne is predatorily funny. And I like to, when I'm doing my comedy, usually the point of view I'm taking is the opposite point of view that I have. And that's how I get into the joke. Like, I'll be saying I'm woke while I'm shitting on the woke. It's a way to do the joke while you have everybody on your side. And Wayne hits you in the back of the head with blunt force dick impact. And
yeah, that is true. I am. You are much more clever than I am. You are way more clever than I am.
You're like, oh, joke about bees. How do I force a woman to let me come on their face?
That's your joke, though. What do you mean?
No, it's not.
Your joke is your joke is about flowers coming on bees' faces.
Yeah, not by rape.
I didn't say that.
You insinuated it. You're like, how do I get them closer?
You don't know my life, do you?
Yeah, I know. And Wayne shows only that wall because if he panned his camera to the other wall, it would just be a calendar and fucking sad dates of when that happens to him.
So I'm guessing you don't like my idea. We're not going to add that.
It's a little direct. It's a little. I would wonder though. Here, we didn't talk about this, but what if we did an alternate versions of jokes when we do these, and one a little bit more geared towards your style, and then the one I write out towards my style? You could try it.
I was literally just going to say that. So obviously we wouldn't do them on the same nights, right? But what if we have something more towards your style, that you do one week, and then something a little more towards my style, which would get more laughs on another week.
Yep.
Nothing from you on that?
I just said that exact same thing, and you repeated it back. What do you want me? You want me to say it again?
No, I said they get more laughs. So just,
Oh, you're saying you would get more laughs.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, probably.
Because it's easy. It's just easy. But that might be fun. That might be fun. And maybe combine what worked from both sets.
Yeah, maybe. I'm never going to walk down the road of forced ejaculation, but I will...
Bullshit.
No, not
I knew you in your younger years.
I'm not saying for ethical reasons, Wayne. What do you guys fucking think I'm ethical? No. I'm the murderer who wants you to read a letter and then realize by the end of the letter you're about to get murdered, and then I'm in the back like, ha ha. And Wayne is like staring at you at the bar all night, and if you don't know by the end of the night that you're getting murdered from him, you're not paying attention. All
right, so
that's our comedy.
So, all right. So you for your I think that's a great idea. Might be a little weird if, let's say, we have comedian A at the safe see you do this joke, and then comedian B at Strange Brew see me do the same joke but a little different. Might end up a little weird, but fuck it, who cares?
You just do it completely different is the only thing I think we need to do on this. Like, don't do it like you're doing an impression of the way I did it, and all that's there is the act of how bees go. And I think you can take a completely different route on it. That would, even if the same person heard it, they'd probably be like, similar premise, but he's not copying him.
Well, see, that's the thing. With the way I'm thinking about it is, like, that the intro you gave, the way I would spin that would be like, what if we had to do that as humans, and then spin off from there? But where would you take that? So obviously you didn't think of the human route. Where would you take that joke from where you are?
It's tough because my intro is humans do that, but it's not a good idea that humans do that.
I'm sorry. So your idea is, you can blow a load on somebody's face, but my thought, and maybe you missed this, but my thought is, what if we had to reproduce that way? What if the way that humans had to reproduce was by jizzing on a person's face and that person having to go rub it into another person's genitals? Not necessarily just the fact of doing it, but like that is the way we had to survive as a species.
Sounds like a sex organ in a human centipede.
All right, so where would you take it then?
That'd probably be the only punchline I'd have right there.
The humans aside, where would you take the joke that you outlined in the beginning?
What do you mean, humans aside?
The human aspect of it. Like what I said, the human aspect.
Take that out?
Take that out. Because you're kind of poo-pooing that on me.
I don't mean to poo-poo on you, but...
No, it's fine. You can. 100% you can. That's fine. That's fine.
I feel like the one I have, like, as far as for my thing, is pretty complete for stage ready. Like that Beekaki thing is, that's going in there. But yeah, no, I got, the outline I said in the beginning is probably the route I'm going to go.
Okay, so you like that?
Yeah, I think that's ready for print.
All right, I like that. So do we want to do this where, like, you do one and then I'll do one and then we... So, I mean, this will probably be a month down the line. We'll do another one of these episodes because we want to both do this, but we want it separated enough.
Yeah, and obviously, because this is easy for me to say because I already have it ready to go, I think, for the most part, is I think that being confident in the material is paramount to just doing the joke. So what I'm saying is it would be cool to do that, but why don't you take the month while we're working on my side to try to put together your version of the joke and then get confident in it. And you'll know. Like, you're not going to... I mean, I can't see you forcing yourself to do a joke you don't believe in on stage anyways. So let's not commit just in case.
I've done that a few times.
Well, if
and
you...
they were all failures.
Yeah, I can't. Like, I have ghost socks, which I mentioned on a couple podcasts ago, that I want to try. But I can't get it there yet. I won't. Every joke I go on stage with, I at least like to think that I've given it enough effort that it's ready for people to hear. And no matter what, the first couple times I do it, like even this bee joke, as we're gonna work on it here as we did, but it's still gonna be clunky the first time I get up there. It really takes a little while before you get good at telling a story.
The ultimate goal one night, because normally you go up, then I go up. You do it, and then I do the same joke, but my version.
At the same place? One after another?
Dude, how fucking awkward would that be?
That'd be really awkward. People might not laugh and they would be mad at you.
They probably would be. Maybe we won't do that, but... okay, yeah, I mean... So,
we got a test run ready to go.
We do. I guess I'll write my portion of it a little bit. I mean, do you have any input into that whole, if humans had to reproduce that way? I mean... You
keep asking me. I that's a fucking... You're like...
Man, I gave you Beekaki. You got nothing.
I know, you gave me a good line. I didn't tell you I'd give you a good line back.
All right, so here's what we're going to do. You have that. You write that out. You add the Beekaki in there. I will take... Send me what you have. I'm going to take a few parts of that to lead into my what if humans had to reproduce this way, and I will write my own thing. In the meantime, anybody listening, please send us your suggestions for either side of the joke. And if it comes in before we go on stage and it's funny, maybe we'll add it in. And what we'll do is the next time we do one of these series, we will play both of our sets with this joke, or at least that portion of the joke in there. We'll play it, we'll talk about it, we'll change it, we'll add some stuff that maybe people sent in, and then we'll do the same for the other joke of it, or the other version of the joke rather, and then we'll do it again. We'll work on both sets, take some suggestions, and we'll go back up on stage, do it again, and we'll just keep doing it for a little bit and see what happens.
And around we go, everybody. So, anything else you got to say on Jokies?
No, I'm looking forward to this. I've been really excited about this. I love this idea, and I really hope you guys will write in and give us some punches or ideas on directions to go. If you do, because obviously at this point we weren't expecting this, but we have two different versions of this joke going. So if you have a joke or an idea from my side of it, just let us know, like, hey, this is for Wayne's portion of the joke. If you have it for Anthony, say, hey, this is for Anthony's version of the joke. And we'll try to incorporate it. And we will record it, we will play it, listen to it, and go from there.
All right, everybody. We'll see you soon on another step on the quest. Towards last. Bye. I just said that exact same thing and you repeated it back. What do you want me to say it again?